in game 1. They won that game. Rival had it in game 2. They won that game. So by logic standards, that tells you that Obey's already got this one in the bag.
You know, third time's a lucky charm. Who knows what happens in this game? Anything could go out the window here. Athena yet again banned away from Callus. Really surprising to see him still being focused out, really not wanting to deal with a lot of the global pressure that this goddess can provide.
And I like that ban, the Fafnir. He did so well on that in the last game. This time making sure that there's just no chance that he's going to be able to use that against the Obey Alliance. And again, Rival do not want to see Captain Twig on that Odin. That's their second ban, and Obey going to take the Terra.
It seems that they really like this goddess to be able to have control over everything, honestly, whether it's the global mobility she provides or the root stun combination. Emilzy here is going to be in a good stretch in this game number 3.
Just again, focusing out Kalas. That seems to be the game plan for, honestly, most teams that go up against Team Rival. Very potent support for the, at least former black and purple. Now they've got that white and purple jersey. And while I like it, I like the little design on the right shoulder, I don't know, black and purple just seems like the right color scheme.
I mean, this got a shadow inside of the hood. You know, there's the black still there.
That's true, and Wolfie's still rocking the black sleeves to give it the right aesthetic. All right, I'm on board. I've been convinced. Rival, they've got 2 picks here. When they were in this second pick position in game number 1, they went Geb and Sol, I do believe. So
first game, yeah.
It's going to be something a little bit different this time. It's Kernanos and Camazotz, 2 sea gods, but certainly not C on the tier list. Both very potent right now.
I like taking away Kernanos from Ataraxia. He was an absolute monster in that first game with that god. Not wanting to deal with it, taking it for themselves, for Vote to be aggressive this time around. And Camazotz, the first time we're going to see it, at least in this set, it was banned away from time to time.
Now, in the first 2 games, the Morrigan was banned away from Pretty Prime. This is the first time that it's been left open. We're 3 picks in. Neither team has selected it. Rival has had some practice with the Morrigan. They played it online. That was Wolfie in the mid lane for them. Camazotz, one of the more popular pairings with the Morrigan, either on the other team or on your side. So Obey has an option here. We could see the fabled Serket Morrigan combination that they ran consistently during the the spring finals.
Even sometimes going into the Terra for himself, Obey Alliance, Pretty Prime on that mid roll, really likes to stretch the imagination of what's possible on that goddess, and just like that, we were talking about it, without a doubt, no hesitation, locking that in before the secondary ban phase.
And Bologna for Maniac, love these 2 selections for Obey. It is going to be the Geb for Rival. Don't pencil that in the support role. We saw Deathwalker willing to take it into solo already in this set in game number 1 and did pretty well for himself. Specifically seems to like it in this Bologna matchup.
It could be the case. You know, it's very easy to knock up that bludgeon. You can't really miss that shockwave. However, what kind of presence are you going to be providing in some of these team fights? You're really trying to rotate and get to that level 12 marker where you're going to get that second relic. But looking at the bans here, Robin taken away against Obey Alliance.
And it's going to be the Soul taken away from Rival. Could have been Kernanos for Wolfie in that mid lane. Wolfie, one of the mid laners that seems to really enjoy playing those hunters. So probably a smart ban there. That could have been targeted at Vote with Kernanos going in the mid lane. Nemesis taken away by Rival, again targeting out Captain Twig. And Ares from Obey taking that away from Kalas, who's known to play that every once in a while. Excellent against both the Morrigan and Terra, because neither has that CC immune ult.
The cripple also is going to stop the entire kit from Terra being able to chain the dashes off of the monolith, shutting that opportunity. I was going to mention here that both Sun Wukong and Erlang Shen was available, and we know how devastating of a performance Deathwalker can do with this god.
That's true, but again, could be Erlang Shen jungle, could be Erlang Shen support, could be Geb that solo.
I mean, there's Camazotz, right? So
oh, true, that's going to be jungle. You're right. So it could be Erlang Shen support or Geb support with the Erlang Shen in the solo. You're right. It's got to be Geb in the support this time, right?
I mean,
it's got to be, right?
I think Rival are done trolling at this point in the series, right? They got their victory in the second game. Let's play a little bit more standard Smite here.
Have you met Rival? They're never done trolling. They troll all the time.
Well, if they want to win this series, they're probably going to need to stop trolling, heading into picks and bans even further. The last 2 picks for Obey Alliance still need a hunter.
Still need another pick as well. Jungler more than likely for Obey. 30 seconds left in their bank time to make this decision. Sun Wukong the pick that's likely in the jungle there, with Bologna going into solo and Rom for Ataraxia.
I was going to say maybe even Captain Twig would play the Morrigan in that jungle role before Sun Wukong was locked in, but now solidifying every single position for Obey Alliance. Rival still need to respond here with a mage.
Not a lot of long-range burst damage for Obey. I mean, you don't have that traditional mage who's got a long nuke ability. The Morrigan really relying more on that short-range stun for the burst of damage in the late game, and then using her ultimate to put out the damage in the early to mid stages, but plenty of mobility for that Obey lineup, and it's raw for Wolfie. I love it. I love watching Wolfie play this god.
I was thinking that he would go for the raw. We saw him in day number 1 against Space Station Gaming, how much work he put in with this sun god out of Egypt. And Rival have a pretty comfortable god lineup here in this third game.
Yeah, I love Rival's draft here, totally. Whether the Gev is going solo or support, you've got to assume it's going to be solo. But Erlong Shed and Raw combination from support to mid, I mean, that's a pretty popular one.
Yeah, Walker's sign being displayed again. I'm pretty sure Gev is not going to be played by Deathwalker this time around, raising his hands in the air there like he just don't care in game number 3.
This is a very loose team in basically all aspects. I think that's one of the things that impresses me most about Rival. Even during their spring Gauntlet Land run, where they looked unbelievable, they upset Energy, they were, looking really strong, but they still always had that calm, kind of trolling, having fun demeanor about them.
Absolutely. Sometimes you have to take some of the seriousness away from the competition to be a little bit loose. Some players and teams have different routines and stretches, and that's just one routine that Rival like to do.
You are correct, Tolly. Kalas on Geb this time around. It is Erlong Shen for Deathwalker in the jungle, or excuse me, in the solo lane. Both Wolfie and Pretty Prime going for the same style of build. Soul Trap for both of them. No starter items. They don't need that garbage. They're just looking for the outright power right off the bat.
All about the burst, baby. Wolfie with the rod, the searing pain, as well as the celestial beam is what he's looking for, and Pretty Prime's looking for those sneaky, stealthy burst damage opportunities.
Speaking of sneaky and stealthy, look at where Deathwalker is on the map. He's hiding in the enemy back camps. Could try and come around for a gank onto the Morrigan, or could just stay here and try and strip these away.
I thought that for a second, Maniac was going to try to proxy between that tier 1 and tier 2. Instead, he's going back to his lane. I think they're really trying to find Deathwalker here, but Captain Sway going to mid lane. Deathwalker should have enough of an opportunity to go for those back camps, but he's not jungling here. He's going to invade mid.
There's the frenzy propped by Prime, and here comes Deathwalker out of the jungle. Knock, knock. First blood for Rival on the first wave.
Great play from Deathwalker, using that Mink form, not even as soon as he approached the mid lane, because that would be a sound tell. Instead, doing it further away, not to have that audio cue. And once he connected that, it gives you the Fatalis effect to be able to really start punishing anyone out of position.
Maniac almost stole away that big fire elemental, but was not successful. Rival off to a roaring start, though even with that first blood on the Captain Twig, he's now back in lane, and neither of the buffs on the right-hand side were invaded by Rival, so not all bad for Obey.
It's not too bad of an opportunity, though, if Team Rival just allows Obey Alliance their buffs anyway, because that first blood bounty went towards Ice Baby, and the fact that Captain Twig died, that's going to separate the gap ever so great.
Boat dashed in aggressively there. Ataraxia taking a lot of damage from the archers that are sitting right outside its tower line, as he had to try and help Emilzy out of that situation. Both dual lane members for Obey escaped successfully, but with a little bit of poke to talk about.
We're seeing Ataraxia just kind of very content about farming it up here until that happens. And Emilzy setting up the route onto Callus. The shield is there. Shockwave to buy him a little bit more time. Shield dissipates, and so does the life of Callus.
Boat still trying to box. He dashes through, and Ataraxia almost falls to the tick damage from the Bramble Blast. Emilzy still going for it. The Crushing Earth not going to hit. The second dash will do it. And Obey Alliance win the 2v2. 2-0.
Great play from Obey, finding the kills there. They're answering in kind despite losing their jungler earlier on in mid lane. They're getting an advantage in the dual lane, and that's a great spot to do so because of the Gold Fury. We haven't seen too many attempts at Gold Fury in this entire set. Both of these teams are being very hesitant about trying to go for that objective, but if the level advantage starts to snowball in Obey's favor, you can rest easily knowing they'll go for that one.
Obey, in fact, with the lead now, ever so slightly, after giving up that first blood. Ice Baby making the rotation over to this right-hand side, looking for Maniac, sitting only level 4, but the pathing there from Ice does not give an opportunity to chase him down with that bat out of hell. Instead, it's gonna be Deathwalker and Ice Baby chasing Captain Twig back to that middle lane.
He's able to even clear out those Fire Giant Elementals while Ice Baby was distracted in that solo lane. He catches up in the level department, sitting at level 5 as well. A little bit of a root on some vote, forcing out the dash, but nothing really to worry about. But Callus's dash does get interrupted. He's forced to use that knockup. He's not level 5 quite yet, so he can't use that Cataclysm, so he takes a good amount of his health pool.
If Emilzy would have found that stun, I think that would have been another kill on Kalas with Emilzy and Ataraxia both being level 5. Unfortunate that Obey's support couldn't quite find that stun.
And the problem here for Callus is the fact that he invested into this blink, and that's not something you can use defensively once you're already in combat anyway, as opposed to a lot of other relics. So it makes it very easy for Obey to continue playing aggressively, taking advantage of Callus, and if you're putting him in combat, now you don't have to worry about that offensive blink Geb knockup.
Even though Obey has the lead on the left side of the map, is Rival looking to secure red buff, and will do so successfully with Ice Baby showing face on the left side of the map. The right side of the map is going much better for Team Rival, specifically the mid lane. Pretty Prime just at level 6. Wolfie's been there for a while. Ice Baby has been level 6 for a while with Captain Twig just hitting it, so a slight XP lead for Rival on the other side of the map as Ice Baby forced into the ultimate from Captain Twig's attempted stun.
He's still being able to escape the stun coming out from Emilzy. Blink knockup from Callus though. Gonna set up a little bit of damage from Wolfie. Terra's Blessing being used as well. Rival escaping for the moment.
Very low as Kalas. Pretty Prime has the ultimate, but decides not to use it. Keep an eye on these low health targets because double snipes from 2 ROMs would be pretty difficult to deal with. Prime decides he didn't think he could have gotten the kill there, so allows Kalas to escape. Looks like it was going to be Ice Baby to fall there, who again has gone for this Bracer of Undoing instead of a Purification Beads or Aegis.
It could lead him to safety sometimes. However, there could be a lot of crowd control provided from Obey Alliance. We're looking at a decent amount coming between both Pretty Prime and Captain Twig, especially if Emilzy is right around the corner. Don't forget, Pretty Prime can transform to one of those gods as well to even increase the chain crowd control effect. However, Ice Baby, all he needs is a brief moment to get into his ultimate form.
Deathwalker still battling it out on this right side of the map with Maniac, and this lane has gone back and forth. Every time we've checked in, it's been a different solo laner pushing the other one underneath the tower.
It seems to be the case here. They're both concerned about boxing each other out, getting that fake damage in the meantime. Maniac sitting at level 8 now. Deathwalker is still struggling for the moment because of having to share so much experience under that mid wave, and not teleporting right off the bat means that he lost a decent amount of minions under that tower.
Pretty Prime in the invisible state, looking to find a pick potentially on that bottom left side Harpies, but Rival playing pretty conservatively right now, just allowing their team to farm up those left side mid Harpies, and have really decided to slow the pace of this game down after that double kill in the duo lane.
Oracle's going the way of Team Rival, having an extra 1 minute worth of vision around that objective. And if I look at Obey Alliance's composition, I'm not worried about them starting the Gold Fury and completing it because Wolfie is that rock.
Kalas gets the blink Cataclysm in the mid lane. Emilzy falls low, but he's still alive. And now the focus is on to Kalas. No way for him to escape for the moment. Up into the sky goes Pretty Prime, who's doing the best Ice Baby impression, and he's gonna get the kill. The real Kamazotz now tries to show up, but he's gonna be forced to use his ult defensively.
Here comes the snipes out of Ataraxia, but it's not on the mark to find the kill onto Ice Baby. Now utilizing the Monolith for a little bit of sustain. Obey Alliance cleanly pick off Callus, and this is the defense the difference rather of the relic selection between Callus and Emilzy. Callus engages offensively, and Emilzy, after taking all the damage from the setup that Callus does, he uses his bracers to negate all the burst damage from Wolfie.
If you're gonna full commit to a support with bracer, you better kill them, or else that team fight is almost certainly going to go poorly for you, as evidenced by that last one in the mid lane. You're right, I mean, Emilzy got bursted down to about 5% HP, but then all of a sudden recovered 50% of it back, because of course this early in the game there's not going to be a lot of anti-heal available to either side.
Ice Baby getting stunned out here, making his presence slightly felt in the left side in case Ataraxia wanted to try to roll aggressively, but he's very content about farming right now, trying to complete the Sycamore.
That's usually the power spike item that hunters are looking for, to start boxing not only against the enemy hunter, but to start making rotations, because it's so effective against the enemy junglers, enemy solo laners. It's all around insane item. 1,700 gold for 30% attack speed, 10 pen, and then with every auto attack, you're taking away power and adding it to your own, up to 3 stacks.
It's gonna make sure that he survives a little bit longer against Ice Baby or Deathwalker whenever those two players specifically dive the backline, which will inevitably occur as the game progresses.
Both of these teams do have very strong dive compositions, and both have that long-range finish-off damage that you're looking for with dive comps. On the side of Rival, you're looking at Wolfie Snipe. On the side of Obey, you have Ataraxia Snipes. So you got a lot of different options to finish off these low health targets.
Then you also have Pretty Prime that can go into either Ataraxia or Wolfie, depending on the situation, whether or not he needs to sustain with the snipe or just a straight up long distance snipe to follow up. Deathwalker doing a good job of holding this wave outside the tower, not losing the entire wave of gold.
But now, we mentioned earlier on that both mid laners went for this Soul Trap rush. Both mid laners have completed their Book of Thoth, but it's Wolfie who skipped the Swift Wing that Pretty Prime has become so fond of with this style of build, and has already finished off his pen boots because of it. So right now, Rival's mid lane are going to be doing significantly more damage than that of Obey Alliance, as Vote gets chased down by Captain Twig in the jungle. Ice and Kala starting to make the rotation as Wolfie hovers in that left side as well, but Obey doesn't want to fight too much right now, because as I mentioned, their mid laner is going to be doing significantly less damage than that of Rival.
But if they can make the team fight last for quite a while, then Pretty Prime can get back into the action anyway with that Swift Wing, so they don't have to worry about that option. However, Wolfie, like we mentioned before, the damage will be evident. However, they need to make sure that they use it optimally. They can't burst everything onto Emilzy with that Bracer of Undoing still available.
There's a taunt on a Maniac. He's going to take one tower shot. Actually, it will escape before necessary, and will use that Eagle's Rally just to ensure his safety. So ult for ult in the solo lane, just about standard.
Didn't want to really get hit by that Mink to allow that Fatalis effect. Captain Twig gonna poke out Wolfie and Callus ever so slightly in that mid lane, but Wolfie sustain should keep those two gods up a little bit longer here. Red buff respawning, and Obey Alliance are right on top of Rival's red.
Perfect pressure in the mid lane. No coincidence that the focus to poke out Callus is right before that red buff spawns, but Emilzy's now been left alone. Good stun saves him for the moment, but here come Twig and Prime around the backside. Cataclysm onto Twig as Ice Baby takes to the sky. Snipes there as well, and Deathwalker's gonna clean up Twig. Prime transforms into the perfect timing, but it's not enough. The dot cleans him up. A double kill for Rival in the mid lane, and now they're gonna turn their sights towards the Gold Fury.
They lost both of their members earlier on in the game, but it's now a 2-0 on their side. Deathwalker's here. He's made the rotation. He's forced Ataraxia into the sky, and waiting for him underneath is 4 Rival members.
Knock up controls him. Ice Baby puts him down. 3 in a row for Ice Baby. He's on a killing spree, and all 5 members of Rival are rolling like a death train through the jungle. Gold Fury getting low. Emilzy is here. Wild Hunt comes through to polymorph him. Nowhere for him to go. Vote is gonna find that kill, and another Gold Fury goes Rival's way. First of game number 3 goes to Rival, and they're in control ever so slightly. All of that, 3 kills, a Gold Fury. They're only up 1,000 gold.
I mean, it's not the worst case for Obey Alliance here. They are still in a decent position level-wise. They're only down about 1,300 experience. Captain Twig needs to make the plays happen in the jungle position if he wants the rest of his teammates to start excelling. It's going to be trying to posture around that speed buff, but it's already completed by Ice Baby. However, Obey Alliance are thinking about this portal demon.
Good idea there from Twig and the rest of Obey to just check and see if Rival was going to stick around. Unfortunately for Obey, there was a ward there on the Fire Giant that let Rival know that that portal demon pull was going on. Perfect fight there in the mid by Rival as the snipe from Wolfie again, just at the right spot, knocks down the members of Obey.
And it was a great idea to start to shift the attention onto Captain Twig instead of a Millsy. There's a frenzy on him. No Bracer of Undoing quite yet. He's not level 12. And if he goes for Bracer of Undoing, now he's not going to have the purification beads anyway. And that's still going to create enough of a window to be able to find the Geb Cataclysm into the knockup. So I'm probably leaning on Captain Twig to eventually start working on a Stone of Gaia. It doesn't have to be now necessarily, but eventually.
Stone of Gaia would be great here because you've got two knockups to talk about, Deathwalkers and Colossus. Kalos again goes to that Blink Cataclysm. This time Twig was ready for it and had that Somersault Cloud charging. Maniac in that front side. Ice Ice Baby in some trouble, receives the shield, and then up into the bat, trying to get away. Deathwalker throws out that ultimate as well, so 3 ultimates used in response to the 3 from Obey Alliance who would use that Terra's Blessing. Emilzy's caught here, only has 1 dash, but no full commit from Rival.
I thought Rival were going to be in a better spot to really chase down that Terra support, and Wolfie needs to use his heal a little bit more optimally here. It's Pretty Prime, though, it's out of position instead.
It turned into the Geb, finds the Cataclysm, but it was jumped over by Ice Ice Baby, and he makes him pay. Number 6 now for Rival as they're now doubling Obey Alliance. Wolfie has the snipe. Maniac teleports in to try and defend this portal demon, but the fight is what Rival won, and they're gonna get it. Ice Ice Baby finds Twig once more. Deathwalker gets stunned out as Emil is trying to escape. Great juke out of that Wild Hunt by Maniac, hugging that wall to make sure he doesn't turn into the pig. So Rival only gonna get 1 there after their initial pick. But again, just heading back towards the objective.
Still a 5-on-3 power play. Despite Pretty Prime respawning, it's going to take a while for him to get in position. Rival secure the portal demon despite the good efforts of Ataraxia with the snipe from the ROM.
I like the idea there from Ataraxia, but just not quite enough damage. The burst was there from Rival, and they're looking pretty good in this one. Totally up 7-3 in kills, but again, every time you look at the kill number, you're saying to yourself, okay, Rival's decidedly in the lead, and then you check the gold, and then you check the experience, and it's just not as much as you would expect.
Slowly but surely is the game that Rival are playing here. They don't have to have this insurmountable lead at this point in the game if they can eventually build into it, which is what they're doing exactly. They're finding some members of Obey out of position, slowly poking them out one by one, and then really utilizing the sustain from Wolfie to extend these team fights even further.
The only real experience difference is in the jungle, and that's because Captain Twig is up against a man who's 5-0-2 right now. Ice Ice Baby has been on point with this Camazotz. We saw Cubo Fred do it earlier on the day, and now Ice is looking really, really strong on this god as well.
Both Ice Ice and Deathwalker has been a part of every kill from Team Rival, and that's not surprising because these two players really like to lean on each other when they play aggressive in the solo lane, trying to strip away from the enemy jungler.
Certainly worked out thus far as the Gold Fury is due to respawn in just less than a minute. Expect Rival to be there for the Oracle spawns because that undeniable vision is so important for this next Gold Fury. Here comes Rival trying to secure those Oracles as Ataraxia and Emilzy meet up in the duo lane.
36 seconds or so on the Gold Fury to respawn, so that vision will extend ever so slightly in case Obey try to pull the trigger on that one. Ice Ice positioning himself for more poke onto Ataraxia, but Emilzy is here to drop the Monolith, increasing his sustain, while the rest of Rival are looking to invade this purple.
Brawler's Beatstick is completed though for Ice Ice Baby, so a little bit less sustain than Ataraxia probably would have liked because of the anti-heal into that penetration item. No beads or Aegis though for Ice Ice Baby. He went for the blink in that second relic slot, of course, had the bracer as his first, so watch out for that CC chain coming out of Obey Alliance. That could be just a quick death for Ice Ice Baby, though probably closer towards the end stages as Gold Fury started up. Emilzy uses the ultimate to try and close the gap and get in there, but Rival has already got the Gold Fury. Bracer used by Ice Ice Baby because he's on the run, but he's going to be able to get away. It looks like, in fact, may want to turn it around on Ataraxia here.
He still has the blink available. Nice little Wild Hunt catching out too. Deathwalkers, though, is going to pin too as well. Eagles rally in the backline. Maniac, though, now he has no escape.
Taunted in by Deathwalker. Twig gets in and disrupts beautifully on the backside as Prime is in there and now transforms into the Camazotz. He's gonna die before he even gets up into the sky. Vote claims his second as Ice chasing down Maniac. First two are good. Third one, he's gonna give it up.
Smart play, not committing. He has to juke out the snipes from Ataraxia, but he's not in range. He's gonna switch his targets to Vote instead. He was slightly low in the health department, but it's gonna be a Rival still on the upper hand. They get another Gold Fury, and they pick off Pretty Prime.
Only one kill for Rival in that engagement, but remember, they got their second Gold Fury of the game. The first real lead by either team in game number 3 belongs to Rival, just around 3,000 gold, a little bit under that. Pretty Prime in this game, we usually tout him as the best user of Changeling, the Morrigan ultimate. There are a lot of great Morrigans. Lobster comes to mind, certainly. Zeros, Yamin, these guys are excellent at it. Herwind and NA, but most of the other Morrigans use it as an assassin play style. They wait until the late game, then they go into that invis, look for the stun, the big damage off of that stun. Pretty Prime's the guy who's always trying to use that ultimate optimally. This game has not been able to find it, though.
Trying to use it as a get-out-of-jail-free card, but hasn't had the opportunity to do so quite yet. I feel like he needs to make a mental switch to be able to get the engagement off in his terms and maybe stun somebody out while he's in stealth and trying to get maybe some purification or even Aegises off the table.
Ataraxia, the only one in the dual lane. Ice Ice Baby thinking about wrapping around the backside and will decide to do so, but has to wait for the minion wave.
Did he get spotted out by Ataraxia? Oh, I think he did now.
Yes, he did. Ataraxia knows he's there now, and Emilzy immediately starts making his way over. Ataraxia knows he's between a rock and a hard place, has both relics and his ultimate, so plenty of things to stall with as Twig and Emilzy arrive to try and alleviate that pressure. Twig getting that 30 gold proc off the Talaria boots that he built for himself, and pretty non-standard build for the jungle, I'd suppose. The Talaria boots and the Brawler's Beat Stick, that's certainly normal. And then Spirit's Robe, third item.
He's trying to get more protections. He's just going to be that setup utility style jungler. He's been doing so successfully on the Odin, but he hasn't had the opportunity in games 2 and 3 because it was banned away from him in the first portion. And that's why we're seeing this tanky style, going for Talaria boots, going for Spirit's Robe, trying to survive in these team fights for as long as possible.
Deathwalker is not really worried about this pressure at all, even without a tier 1 tower. Maniac's already taken it down. Rival's already taken down a second Portal Demon as well. Obey just not in position to defend that objective.
Not at all here. Rival extending their goal lead ever so slightly, getting 750 gold under their belt. Almost 4,000 gold in the lead with the experience to follow suit. The rest of Rival are taking this portal into the mid lane. That 500 gold and the map control pressure would be very valuable for Rival heading into the 20-minute mark.
Fire Giant has not been looked at by either team. That's no surprise with how early in the game it still is. There's the Blink Cataclysm from Kalos onto Ataraxia, who gets hit by the snipe from Wolfie, but it's not enough to bring him down. Captain Twig in the midst of everyone, and Deathwalker's gonna find him before the ultimate goes off. Snipes from Ataraxia, not on point. It's Pretty Prime again, trying to utilize that Camazot's ultimate. May get punished for it once more. Indeed he will. Deathwalker gonna combine to bring down Pretty Prime. Now Maniac's gonna fall. It's the Obey Alliance conveyor belt right into the teeth of Rival.
And everyone is so healthy from Rival. 3 dead members, not done yet as Ice Ice Baby, as he finds the 4th kill for his team, is gonna be a deicide as Rival are controlling and dominating this 3rd game.
Tier 1 tower in mid already gone. Tier 2 tower in mid taken down as well. And now the Phoenix is the focus, utilizing this sustain from Wolfie. There is some anti-heal on the side of Obey. You've got the Cursed Unk coming out of Captain Twig, the Brawler's Beat Stick, a Pestilence from Emilzy, but still not enough. Multiple bracers from Rival, that healing from Wolfie as well. No one from Rival has to even be worried about their health pool.
You see what happens when you put Geb on Callus and not Deathwalker? You win games.
You're looking like you're gonna win a game, that's for sure. I mean, again, I don't think the Geb solo was the problem, but I don't know if it was the solution either.
Yeah, I don't think it definitely helped Rival's case at all. Now Rival are in a great spot. They got the middle Phoenix, they got the first Fire Giant of the game. They're extended their gold lead already to almost a 10,000 gold marker, and there's still 4 more towers to follow suit.
That's plenty of gold waiting for Rival. Like this call by Obey, they need this gold desperately because the deficit is about to get worse. The stock market crash has been foretold because they're about to lose 2 tier 1s, 2 tier 2s. We're talking 4,000 gold just sitting waiting to be taken by Rival.
It's going to be about an 11,000 gold lead that Rival is going to accumulate here in the next 2 minutes or so. This Fire Giant buff is just going to help them escalate it even further. Even stripping away the speed buff before getting that Fire Giant, putting it on Wolfie is a great idea considering he already has a lot of mobility with his passive. And on top of that, he went for the Rod of Asclepius, being able to boost that healing and get that extra mobility to follow.
Not only boosting his own healing, but the healing of those bracers, the healing of Kamazotz from his built-in, from his passive and from his other abilities. So an absolutely phenomenal pickup for Wolfie. One of the more underrated items that I think a lot of Raw players stopped building as of late, but should probably still be using because it can help out so much, even health pots. It ups that regen.
And Millsy dropping the monolith right in front of everyone, even clapping in front outside the tier 2 tower. Blink Cataclysm from Callus is going to force out some disengages here.
Snipe was used by Wolfie as well, but a massive taunt coming out of Deathwalker is going to find 3. Vote controls Twig on the front side as Ataraxia takes to the sky, trying to snipe out the back line. No one's low enough for him to do so. He gets pinned, he gets knocked up, he gets killed. Ice Baby's got 8 in total. Deathwalker claims his 4th. That's 16 in total for Rival. They already knocked down the 2 towers on the left, Tolly. Now they've got this left side, Phoenix under control. They don't even want the towers on the right. They're going right for the Titan.
They got a Fire Minion wave to follow them into victory. Pretty Prime getting chased down by Ice Baby. He is not necessary for this final siege. Team Rival getting their 2nd win of the set.
And it was convincing.